How many times have you walked past a down and out in a doorway without a second thought? Well, Phil Webb was that man. Many people walked by, just one decided to help. And as actor and director Chris Connell reports, that one act of kindness turned Phil's life around. And now, thanks to Inside Out, he's been reunited with his Good Samaritan.
And action.
This is my story and it's true. Over a year ago I was sleeping in the doorway. Now thanks to a fellow soldier and the Legion, I had a roof over my head.
Newcastle's Theatre Royal, last December. Rehearsals of war stories by Bravo 22 Theatre Company. It's run by the British Legion to help old soldiers and their families. That's me, Chris Connell, the director, and that's Phil Webb.
Brilliant, it's really coming along that. No, it's really coming along that.
Phil's experience of being at rock bottom is a big part of the play. After serving in the forces, he married, had 4 kids and taught sociology, but his marriage fell apart and he lost his job and started drinking.
Phil came to Carlisle to live with an ex-army friend, but that didn't work out. And by October 2015, he was drunk and living on these streets.
It was raining, I remember, it was cold. And I felt pathetic, well, I was pathetic. And I went in the archway, started drinking and then just sat with my head down because I didn't want people to see me. And I didn't want to see anybody else. I didn't want to commit suicide, but if it wouldn't have woke up, I wouldn't have been bothered.
So, what was the turning point for Phil?
In the parable of the Good Samaritan, a stranger stops to help an injured man he should consider to be his archenemy. In Phil's case, our stranger decided not to walk past a drunk, but instead offered him a helping hand.
This fella tapped me on the shoulder and said, he said, look mate, I don't usually help homeless people. He said, but something's asked me, or told me to help you. He said, come with me, we'll put you up for night and talk in the morning.
After a night in a bed and breakfast, Phil's Good Samaritan put him in touch with the British Legion.
It was the key to Phil's recovery. With the help of the British Legion, he got a roof over his head, got off the drink, and got back on his feet.
It was a miracle, because I just thought, this stranger, this angel, has come to help me. So I owe it to him, but more so, I owe it to myself to stop drinking.
Roll up, join the army, and actually do some fighting!
In just over a year, he's gone from being homeless and drunk to performing in front of a live audience.
When we're under attack, and we're throwing bricks, nail bombs and petrol bombs, and shooting. I'm doing a course, an IT course. I'm also a voluntary worker. I help in a men's group. I'm also teaching social studies. Life is absolutely brilliant.
So what about that passer-by with the big heart?
Phil's Good Samaritan gave him a piece of paper, and on it was a name and a number. And we decided to find Phil's helper, but unfortunately, the number didn't work. However, we did have a name, Stephen Finlayson, and eventually, we tracked him down.
That's it, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Time, well done. Right, Julie.
And this is Stephen Finlayson, fitness trainer, former soldier, and Good Samaritan.
Nice to meet you, Chris.
Yeah, nice to meet you, last. This looks like fun. Yeah, I've heard a lot about you.
Oh, have you?
Yeah,
right,
I have,
okay.
indeed.
Stephen remembers helping Phil like it was yesterday.
Went up and just asked him, said, you know, are you all right? Kind of just said, yeah, I'm all right. Left it at that, and maybe got like 20 metres down the road, and I just thought, no, I can't just leave him to lie there.
What made you think you had to do that?
I just think just that look, that very look in his eye of just being totally scared. And I've seen that look before, and that's when you know someone's at rock bottom. He doesn't need food, he doesn't need a drink, he doesn't need a sleeping bag. He needs someone to pick him up and take him somewhere where he's going to be a lot safer than on the streets.
Stephen got Phil into the bed and breakfast with the help of his mum.
Just came in and says, Mum, I've seen this man, he's on the street and he needs help, He's just sitting there, he's cold, he's freezing.
Is that the kind of thing you would normally do, or?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. So we drove round and he was still sat there. So we pulled the car up, went over and spoke to him, and I liked him that much, I would have taken him home. Do you know that?
Yeah.
I would have taken him home. He was such a nice man.
Yeah.
Like Phil, Stephen is also an old soldier. He served as a sniper with the RAF regiment. He's about to find out just how important he was to Phil's recovery.
But do you ever wonder what happened to him?
I do. I used to think about him quite a lot.
And I can tell you that Phil sees that moment as the pivotal moment of his life, where everything turned around and started heading in the right direction.
Right.
I mean, would you be surprised to find out that Phil was in a play that I directed?
No way.
Literally one year, I think it was, from that night that you met him.
You're kidding?
Totally turned his life around. How does that make you feel? Yeah?
I can't really, yeah.
I can tell you that you made a huge difference to that man. Absolutely. If I was able to get Phil here, would you like to meet him at some point? Yeah? Think of anything you'd like to say to him?
Yeah, I'd love to hear from him and meet him and, yeah.
24 hours later, Phil is about to meet his Good Samaritan. But first, he has a special date.
Oh, flipping heck, it is.
This is Phil. This is your...
I love.
How good, I'm glad you made it.
I know I did make it.
Because I didn't
Well,
think you were
me.
gonna.
I did make it, yeah.
I didn't think you
I didn't
were
think
gonna.
I was going to make it until Stephen came along, like, you know what I mean?
Fantastic,
What a lovely
marvellous.
son you've got.
He's a wonderful boy.
I'm doing plays and I've got myself a job, teaching again, doing what I love to do. Really got on my feet and I wouldn't have done it without Stephen.
At last, after meeting Stephen's mum, Phil finally gets to see his Good Samaritan.
Stephen, Phil.
Isn't it?
Good to see you. Looking well, man. Looking
Yeah.
well. Look at you.
Oh, look. I just want to tell you what you've done for me. You've done everything for me. I was in Debenham's doorway thinking I didn't want to go on anymore. Was you driving past?
No, I walked past you.
Right.
Yeah.
What happened then?
Oh, well, I asked how you were.
Go on. I just thought I couldn't get any lower. And I didn't really have any friends, and it was just the loneliness and despair I was feeling. And then you came along.
And how do you remember it?
I remember I got to the stage where I was like talking to myself, but I got further and I was like arguing with myself and I was hating myself. So this conversation saying, "You've really done it this time, Phil. How bad can you get?"
Do you remember coming in here?
No. This is all news to me.
We sat on that table and chair behind you, and we sat and had a coffee.
Right.
And that's when you told me that you used to be serving the artillery.
Thank you. I can't thank you enough. I can't. You've just changed my life. I just needed that somebody. And my mother used to have a little plaque at the bottom in the hallway, and it says, "There's no such thing as strangers, only friends we've never met." And you were my friend that night. You really was.
Well, there you have it. A helping hand from a complete stranger has totally transformed this old soldier's life. It's amazing what a difference a little bit of kindness can make. They've obviously got a lot of catching up to do, so I'm going to leave them to it.